All right. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Nicole, and welcome back to our English class. As you can see on the screen, we are focusing on a topic that often comes up in out speaking and writing, especially in questions related to society, government, crime, and responsibility. We're going to explore formal legal terminologies. In other words, words and yeah, words, vocabulary we use when talking about rules, laws, and how people or companies follow them. So you might hear this kind of vocabulary in questions like should government make stricter laws to reduce crime, or what responsibilities do companies have to the public? Those are just some of the many examples. Now, in this lesson, we will learn some formal and academic words that you can use to sound more precise and professional. So words like legislation, accountability, compliance. So these are just especially helpful for your work or even you when taking the IELTS exam. So here, your tone needs to be more thoughtful and structured, of course. We'll go over meanings, pronunciation, and real IELTS style examples. Then you'll get a chance to practice using them in your own speaking or writing. So by the end of today's session, you will feel more confident using these terms in a clear, natural, and academic way, hopefully. So let's get immediately started with our for a moment. Yeah. Okay. Let's get started with the first set of words, which is on contracts and agreement. So first word here is agreement. This is a mutual decision or contract. So it is a shared understanding and acceptance of specific terms between two or more parties, often but not always, legally binding. So an agreement forms the basis of any contractual relationship. It signifies that all involved parties have discussed and consented to the same set of conditions. While some agreements can be informal, like, verbal agreements with people we know, with people who are familiar, like on a small task. In business and legal contexts, agreements are typically documented in writing to ensure clarity, to ensure that we can prevent disputes, and just to provide legal enforceability. So a formal written agreement is it is often referred to as a contract. So the key elements of an agreement is usually, to include an offer, acceptance of that offer, and of course consideration, something of value exchanged between the parties or more of like a compromise. So you try to use this when referring to any situation where parties have reached a mutual understanding, whether documented or not. Okay? So you try to use that and many more contexts. Just that's just one of the many contexts that you can use this. So of course when trying to mention this or this term, your tone should be neutral, it should be factual, it should be ranging from informal to initial discussions to highly formal when referring to executed legal documents. So when it comes to pronunciation agreement, there's three distinct sounds here. Now the first sound is a schwa sound, which means that it is a weak and stressed vowel sound. The primary stress here is on the second syllable, gree, which has a long E sound. Now, excuse me. Now, a tip into looking at IP transcription, because this is an IP transcription. Look at this. I can highlight it for you. That one, a vowel with a colon. Here the vowel is E. If a vowel is paired with a colon, usually the pronunciation of that is a long vowel. It's a long vowel sound. So here, since this is E, we say it as gree. So you hold it a bit longer. It's a long vowel sound. So that is that's just a small tip for you to look into IP transcription, because IP transcription of a word can really help a lot, especially if the word is really, very unfamiliar to you. IP transcription can help you how to pronounce that word. Now, the final syllable here meant it is also unstressed and it has a vowel sound that is schwa, that is following a schwa sound. Again, it's weak and unstressed vowel sound. So, sorry. So again, the stressed syllable is the second syllable, agree. So this is agreement. Again, sorry for that. Agreement. All right. Next, clause. Again, clause. This is a specific section of a legal document. So it is a distinct and self-contained section within a legal document, such as, a contract, a law, or regulation that addresses a specific point or aspect of the overall agreement or rule. So contracts and legal documents are typically divided into numerous clauses where each of it is dealing with a particular subject. These clauses it provide a structured and detailed framework for the agreement or law. Eh, Sorry for that. Yeah. I'm just gonna tell you that maybe from time to time I'm gonna I'm gonna pause because I really have to, since I'm quite sick right now. I am just trying to make my voice as clear as I can because it's a bit itchy since, yeah, I am sick right now. So I hope you understand. I will still, of course, deliver the lesson as much as possible, as effective as I can do it. So I will do it. It's just that from time to time, I may have to get out of the screen to clear my voice, okay? Because I'm quite sick right now, but that doesn't stop me from, telling you something about our topic for this session. I hope you understand. Anyway, continuing with clause. So, when it comes to clause, again, this is a specific section of a legal document. So, there's different clauses in a contract, in a law, or in a regulation. So understanding each individual clause is essential for interpreting the entire document accurately and knowing the specific rights and obligations of each related to that particular aspect. Okay? So, of course, when you try to say this, your tone should be neutral, it should be legal, precise, and focused on a specific part of a larger document. Okay? When it comes to pronunciation, clause, there's only one distinct sound here. So, it starts with the consonant cluster or consonant blend. The consonants here are the letters K and L. So those sounds of those letters are combined and blended together to form a one natural sound. So it starts with that. And then it's followed by a long vowel sound. Oh, vowel sound. So clause. Again, clause. So that's a long vowel sound. Then it ends with a buzzing sound or the sound that letter Z makes. So um that is the distinct sound, not distinct sounds, but like the sounds of each letter. So again, this is a single syllable word with the stress on that particular syllable because there's only one syllable, so we stress on that syllable or on that word. So this is clause. Next to that is obligation. This is a duty or commitment, or a legal or contractual duty, a requirement or commitment that one party is bound to fulfill towards another party. So obligations, it define what each party must do or refrain from doing under the terms of an agreement or by law. So they represent the responsibilities that create the legal relationship between the parties. So, failure to meet an obligation can result in a breach of contract or legal consequences, of course, because it's part of the legal document. You signed it, of course. There is um, if you try to break it, there's legal consequences that you must face. Pronunciation wise, there's four distinct sounds here. Let's start with first one, ob. So it starts with ob where it has, a short sound. So ob. And then li, which also has a short vowel sound, which is e. And then gay, third sound is gay. It has a diphthong sound. Again, what's a diphthong sound? It is when one vowel smoothly glides to another vowel. That's a diphthong sound. Now, the vowel or the diphthong sound here is A. This one that highlighted for you. That one. That's the diphthong sound. A. But the sound of this of the third syllable in the word is gay. Okay? And then lastly is Sean. Because again, always remember when a word has a Tion in that word, its pronunciation is most likely Sean. Okay? Sean. Now that one is the IPA symbol for the SH sound or the sh sound. Okay, so shun. It has a schwa sound, which means that the vowel here is weak and, of course, not stressed. So that's the final syllable. Now, the primary stress here is on the third syllable K. So we say it as obligation. Again, obligation. All right. Fourth term, provision. Again, provision. This is a condition or rule in the contract. So it is a specific condition, a stipulation, a term or rule that is included in the contract, a statute, or other legal document to govern a particular aspect of the agreement or law. So it detail and specificity to legal documents outlining particular requirements, particular rights, limitations, or procedures. So they just, ensure that all parties understand their specific roles and responsibilities in various scenarios. So provisions can cover a wide range of topics such as um, payment schedules, um, yeah, payment schedules, warranties, delivery methods, confidentiality requirements, and many, many more. Like dispute resolution process, that's also another one. So, of course, you can try to use this when discussing the detailed terms that govern a particular aspect of a transaction or legal framework, like what I've mentioned examples earlier, or when you just, refer to a particular condition or rule stated within a legal document, you can use this word. Now, when it comes to pronunciation, provision, there's distinct sounds. Sorry. There's three distinct sounds. Starts with pro. Now, the O in the first syllable is, a schwa sound. It's a typically schwa sound, as weak and stressed vowel sound. Now, the primary stress is on the second syllable, V, which has a short E sound. Now, um, the combination in the final syllable is pronounced as j, j. It's the voiced equivalent of sh sound. Now, to check if a sound is voiced, um, if you remember how to recognize a voiced sound, if you not, well, let's just do it. Touch your neck and then try to say the sound. If it vibrates, if your throat vibrates, then of course it's a voiced sound. If it's not, then it's a voiceless sound. So, mm, mm, okay, it vibrated, so it's a voiced sound. Again, I mentioned earlier that this is an voiced equivalent of sh sound. Let's try sh. There is no vibration, so that's a voiceless sound. So this is again a voiced equivalent of of sh sound. So vision. The last syllable is on, which is also unstressed and has a schwa sound. So again, the stressed syllable is the second v. So we say it as provision. Again, provision. Next term, amendment. Again, amendment. This is a formal change to a document. So like an addition, a deletion, or maybe just alteration that is, made to an existing legal document, such as contract law or regulation or constitution even. So these are necessary when the original terms of a legal document need to be modified after it has been created. So they require the formal consent of all relevant parties or adherence to specific legal procedures. So you try to you try to put your tone, your voice in um, neutral legal tone as you indicate a change or modification that has a legal effect, of course. Pronunciation wise, there's three distinct sounds. Starts with Ishwa sound, that upside down E, and then another distinct sound is mend. Again, mend, which is the primary stress of this word, and lastly ment, which is a Sarashan. Shwasa. Okay? So the final syllable is meant, which is also unstressed. So the stressed syllable is meant, the second syllable. So you say it as amendment. Again, amendment. All right. So that is the first set of words for formal legal terminologies under contract and agreement. Now, to check if you're following with me, of course, we will be doing a practice drill. So it's time to practice. Now, what I want you to do is just to read the sentence with me in your own comfortable spaces there. Okay? All right. Let's start with the first word, agreement. The two companies signed a partnership agreement last week. Clause. The contract contains a confidentiality clause. Obligation. He has a legal obligation to provide accurate financial reports. Provision. There's a provision for early termination in the lease. Amendment. They added an amendment to extend the payment deadline. And that's the last term for the first set of words. Let's shall move on with another set of words, which is on compliance and ethics, starting with compliance. Now, this is the state of following laws or rules. So you adhere all relevant laws, all relevant regulation or rules, internal policies maybe, and just, other ethical standards that govern an organization's operations and the conduct of its employees, or just another type of contexts that we can use this compliance. But usually it's um, leaning on business, context, but there's many contexts out there that we can use this word. Now, compliance here is not merely about following the letter of the law, but also about embodying the spirit of regulations and ethical principles, because it's an ongoing process that requires organizations to establish policies, to implement procedures, to provide training, and just monitor adherence to ensure that all actions and behaviors are in line with legal and ethical requirements, of course. Pronunciation wise, compliance. There's three distinct sounds. Starts with com, which has a short O sound and a schwa sound also. That vowel sound is a schwa sound, which is a weak and stressed vowel sound. Next is ply. Now, ply, it has a diphthong sound. The second syllable consists of a consonant blend and a diphthong sound. So, a pair of consonants and a pair of vowel sounds. Starts with consonant PL, so those two distinct sounds of those two letters will be blended together to create one sound. And then it is followed by I, which is a diphthong sound, where one vowel sound is added to another vowel sound to create a one diphthong sound. Okay? Alright, so ply is also the stressed syllable here. It's a primary stress. And lastly, the final syllable ans, it is unstressed. It's very easy because it's using Ishmael sound uns. Uns. It's a short, weak, and stressed vowel sound. So all in all, this is compliance. Again, compliance. Next is regulation. This is a rule set by an authority. So the regulations here, they are created to ensure public safety. They ensure also consumer protection, fair competition, um, environment, sustainability, maybe another societal goals. Just all in all, they often have the force of law, and failure to comply, of course, can result in fines and legal actions or other penalties. All in all, just legal consequences, basically. So everyone must stay informed about the regulations that apply to their operations and employment processes. You just implement processes to ensure compliance. So pronunciation wise, regulation. There's four distinct sounds starting with re, which reg, which has a short e vowel sound. And then you here is it has a um, short u sound. Okay, for a moment. I am back. Okay. Thank you for your understanding in my occasional pauses, but I really have to. So, yeah, thank you for your understanding. Well, going back to where are we? Regulation. So, yes, we are on the second distinct syllable. Now, don't be confused with the letter J here. This is the IPA symbol of the sound that letter Y creates. So, this is you, not Jew, okay? Don't be confused. This is IP transcription, not the spelling of the word. So this is pronounced as you. Again, the letter J symbol, IP symbol, is the symbol of the letter Y sound. Okay, so this is you. Next to that is the stressed syllable, which is lay, which has a diphthong sound, A. And lastly, again, when a word has a T, when a word has a T-I-O-N spelling, it is pronounced as shun. Again, shun. So all in all, this is regulation. Regulation. Next is a term. Next is another term, which is code of conduct. So this is rules for behavior in an organization. So these are formal set of principles, guidelines, or rules established by an organization to define acceptable ethical behavior. Um, yeah, ethical behavior. Expected to conduct for that particular group and its members. So, a code of conduct, it serves as an internal compass, most likely, because it guides individuals on how to act ethically and responsibly within the organizational context. So, it often covers areas such as integrity, conflicts of interest, confidentiality, fair practices, and just basically as simple as compliance with laws and regulations. Okay? Pronunciation wise, since there are three words here, um, let's start with code, which is a single syllable. Code has a diphthong sound O, so code. We say it as code. Again, more relaxed. Code. Okay. Your mouth is rounder here. Code. Next is another single syllable of. Now usually of is it typically is pronounced as of with a V sound. Code of conduct. Next is conduct, which is a two distinct sounds, two syllables. So next, first is con, which has a short O sound, and then duct. Again, duct, which also has a short sound. So the stressed syllable here is code and con. So we say it as code of conduct. Again, code of conduct. Next term is due diligence. Again, due diligence. So this is investigation before an agreement. So it is a comprehensive process of it's a comprehensive process of investigation, research, analyses that is undertaken before entering into an agreement. A transaction, an investment, or making a significant decision to evaluate potential risks, liabilities, and benefits, of course. So this is just, it's aiming to gather all relevant information to make an informed decision and avoid potential pitfalls. When it comes to pronunciation, it starts with Jew, which has a long U vowel sound, so Jew, Jew. And then diligence, where it has three distinct syllables, starting with dil, which has a short E sound, then E, of course, short E sound, second syllable, and then gens, which is a short, weak and stressed vowel sound. Short, short sound because it's schwa sound here. Now, the primary stresses is on Jew and of course the first syllable of the word diligence, dil. So this is due diligence. Again, due diligence. Lastly, we have ethics. This is moral rules about right and wrong. So this involves the moral principles, the values, the beliefs that guide individuals and organizations in determining what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad behavior in various situations, particularly in a business or professional context. So it just involves applying these moral principles to, 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 to any decisions in actions. Okay? It encompasses such issues such as honesty, integrity, respect, fairness, and just social responsibilities. So when it comes to pronunciation, ethics. So there's two distinct sounds starts with a short sound, then fix. So here it uses a voiceless th sound. So this one is the symbol of a voiceless th sound. That one, the O with a line in the middle. So that's the voiceless th sound. So here the primary stress is on the first syllable eh. So we say it as ethics. Again, ethics. All right. So that's the last word for or last term for compliance and ethics. And with that, of course, we shall not move on without a practice drill. So it's time to practice. Same pattern, same process. Let's just read the sentence here. Compliance. The company was fined for failing to maintain compliance with safety laws. Regulation. New environmental regulations were introduced this year. Code of conduct. Employees must follow the company's code of conduct at all times. The team due diligence. The team conducted due diligence before buying the new property. And lastly, ethics. Business ethics are essential for maintaining public trust. All right, so those are the different terms for the second set of terms, of course. Let's move on with risk and liability terms. Starting with liability. This is a legal responsibility for something, so it refers to the state of being legally obligated or responsible for something such as debt, damage, or any wrongdoing. So it implies a legal duty to compensate for harm or loss. So you try to use this when discussing legal responsibilities, legal obligations, or potential financial burdens. When it comes to pronunciation, liability, there's five distinct sound, I guess, liability. So it starts with lie, which has a diphthong sound I, and then a schwa sound and followed by bill, which has a short e sound, and then another schwa sound I, and then t, which also has a short e sound. Now this primary stress is on the third syllable bill. So we say it as liability. Again, liability. Next term is indemnity. Get indemnity. So this is a protection of what? Protection against loss or damage for a moment. All right. I'll ultimately continue with indemnity. Again, this is a protection against loss or damage. Now, um, when it comes to pronunciation, um, well, before that, have I? No, I think I haven't expounded more. But yeah, indemnity, this is protection against loss or damage. So it is a contractual agreement where one party agrees to protect another party against any financial loss or damage which can be resulted from a specified event or action. So it's a form of insurance or security against potential liabilities. So that's indemnity. When it comes to pronunciation, there's indemnity. There's four distinct sounds here, starting with in with a short e sound, and then them with another short vowel sound, but it's an e sound, and then ne with a schwa sound or weakened stressed vowel sound, and then t with a short e sound still. This primary stress is on them. So this is indemnity. Again, Indemnity. Okay. Next word or term is breach, single syllable. So this is breaking a law or contract. So a breach occurs when one party fails to fulfill their obligations as specified in a contract or it violates a law or regulation. So it can lead to legal consequences, of course, and just potential damages. When it comes to pronunciation, breach, there's only one, yeah, one syllable here. We have a long E vowel sound here. It starts with a consonant blend of the consonants B and R, sounds of those consonants, and then followed by a long E sound, and then um yeah, and then ch sound. So this is breach. Again, breach. All right. Next is fraud. This is crime of deceiving others. So you deceive others for personal gain. That's usually fraud. It involves intentional deception or misrepresentation made for financial or personal gain. It's a serious offense with legal consequences, basically. When it comes to pronunciation, this is also single syllable, fraud. So it starts also with a consonant blend of the consonant letters F and R, the sounds of those two letters, and then it's followed by an sound, like in law, oh, and then it ends with a letter D sound or D sound. So it is fraud. Again, fraud. One more time, fraud. Okay, sorry for that. And lastly, we have penalty. So this is punishment for breaking a rule or a law. So that's penalty. It is a punishment imposed for violating a law, regulation, a contract, or just a rule. It can take various forms such as fines, imprisonment, or other sanctions. So that's penalty. Pronunciation-wise, we have three distinct sounds here, starting with pen, which is the primary stressed or the stressed syllable here. It has a short sound, and then followed by l, panel, l, which has a schwa sound, and then another sound is t, which has a short e sound. Again, the stressed syllable is in pen, so this is penalty. Again, penalty. So those are the words or the terms for risk and liability. Now let's try to practice them. Okay, it's time to practice. Same pattern, same process. Let's start. Liability. The manufacturer accepted liability for the defective product. Indemnity. The contract includes an indemnity clause to protect both parties. Breach. They sued for the supplier for breach of contract. Fraud. The account was arrested for committing financial fraud. And lastly, penalty. Late payments will result in a financial penalty. Alright, so those are the words for risk and liability. Let's move on to another set of terms, which is on intellectual property or IP. Okay, let's start with copyright. This is legal right over original content. So it is a right that is granted to the creator of original works of authorship, which includes a literary, a dramatic, musical, and certain other intellectual works. So this right, it gives the creator exclusive control over the use and distribution of their work for a certain period. So that is copyright. Pronunciation wise, copyright. There's three distinct sounds. Here it starts with cup, which is a short sound, and then the second sound is E, which is also a short E sound, short vowel sound. And then right, which has a diphthong sound in the middle I. So I is a diphthong sound here. So the stress syllable is on the first syllable, cup. So you say it as copyright. Again, copyright. Next is trademark. Trademark. This is a brand's protected symbol or name. Basically, a trademark, it involves a symbol, a design, or phrase legally registered to represent a company or product. It distinguishes from others in the marketplace. It provides exclusive rights to use that mark. So that's trademark. Okay? trademark. Pronunciation wise, we have first. First syllable is trade, which has a diphthong sound, A. And then mark, again, mark, which has a um, short vowel sound with a, yeah, short vowel sound. So this is trademark. Again, trademark. Next to that is patent. Sorry for a moment. Again, this is patent. Or patent or patent. Patent. Patent or patent. So this is a legal protection for an invention. So it is more of a legal right granted to an inventor, giving them exclusive rights to use, to sell and manufacture their invention for a limited period. It protects the invention from being copied or used by others without permission. It's patent or patent. When it comes to pronunciation, there's two ways to say this. First is patent, where the first syllable, pay, it has a diphthong sound, A. Or you can say it is patent, where the first syllable uses a short vowel sound. So, patent or patent. The second syllable is tent. It's the same with the other one, tent, which has a schwa sound, a short vowel sound. So this is patent or patent. Next is infringement. This is an authorized use of legal property, so it is the act of violating someone's intellectual property rights or IP rights, such as copyright, the trademark, the patent, or patent, by using their protected work or invention without permission. It's the legal consequence if you try to violate the three terms we've mentioned earlier. So when it comes to pronunciation wise, infringement, there's three distinct sounds here. Starts with in, which has a short E vowel sound, and then French, which has a consonant blood sound at the beginning, and then a short E sound at the middle, and a G sound, which is a voiced sound. And it ends with ment, which has a schwa sound. Now the primary stress is on the second syllable, French. So you say it all as infringement. Again, infringement. Lastly, we have ownership. Okay, going back, the last word or term is ownership. This is the legal right to possess something. So ownership, it's our right to have control over and possess something, which includes IP or intellectual property. It grants you as the owner the right to use, to sell, and manage that property. When it comes to pronunciation, ownership starts with a diphthong sound O, and then followed by ner, which has a schwa sound in the middle, and then ship, which has a short E vowel sound. So all in all, the pronunciation of this word is ownership, with the first syllable being stressed. Ownership. So those are the terms for intellectual property, and we go over, of course, when it's practice drill. Another time to practice. Same pattern, same process. Let's start. Copyright. All the articles on the website are protected by copyright law. Trademark. The brand's logo is a registered trademark that distinguishes it from competitors. Patent or patent. She secured a patent or patent for her innovative new product design. Infringement. Unauthorized use of the software may be considered patent infringement. Ownership. He has full ownership of the intellectual property developed by his team. And that's the last word for intellectual property vocabulary. Next is on business and governance. Of course, let's start with jurisdiction. Okay, jurisdiction. This is a legal authority over an area. So it is a fundamental concept in law and governance because jurisdiction, it defines the limits within which a legal entity can operate and make binding decisions. Okay, so um, it's just, basically the legal authority and scope of power that a court, that a government agency or other legal body has to hear and decide a case, make laws, or exercise control over a specific geographic area or type of legal matter or individuals. Basically, the scope, that is jurisdiction. When it comes to pronunciation, it starts with jo, which has a voiced sound in the beginning, jo, j, j, j. Then ris, which has a short e vowel sound, dig, which also has a short e vowel sound, and then tion. How do you say tion? Shun. Get Sean with the schwa sound. All in all, this is jurisdiction, where this primary stress is on the third syllable. Again, jurisdiction. Okay. Second term is litigation. Again, litigation. This is the legal process of taking a dispute to court. So you try to bring a lawsuit to a court of law involving formal procedures such as filing pleadings, presenting evidence, and arguing legal points before a judge or jury. This is a formal and often lengthy process. It is typically initiated when parties can resolve their differences through negotiation or other means of dispute resolution. So it involves strict rules of procedures and evidence, and the outcome of litigation is a legally binding decision by the court. So the ones involved in here, it often try to avoid litigation due to, of course, its cost and time commitment. They just try to opt instead for alternative dispute resolution methods. Without pronunciation, litigation. There's four distinct sounds, so it starts with lit, which is a short e vowel sound, and then a short e vowel sound only on the second syllable, and then followed by third syllable gay, which is a diphthong sound a, and tion, shun. Okay, this is litigation with um litigation. Again, litigation, where the stress syllable is on the third syllable gay. Litigation. Next term is arbitration. Again, arbitration. This is a legal method to resolve disputes. This is a formal yet often less adversarial than litigation. So it's a method still of resolving disputes outside of traditional court, perhaps, traditional court proceedings, where a neutral third party, which is the arbitrator, they hear evidence and arguments and issues a legally binding decision, which is the award. So that's our arbitration. Um, Basically, this is just, a popular alternative to, how do you call that? I'm sorry. This is just a popular alternative to litigation, interpretation, especially in commercial disputes. Pronunciation-wise, we have arbitration. Starts with R, which is a short vowel sound, and then followed by B, which also has a short vowel sound, but it's E, and then tray, which has a diphthong A sound, and tion, shun. So this is arbitration. Again, Arbitration with J as the stressed syllable. Arbitration. Next term is confidential. This is private and not to be shared, so these include informations, documents, or communications that are intended to be kept private, kept secret, and not disclosed to unauthorized individuals or entities. They are often protected by legal agreements or ethical obligations. Okay, so um, it often includes what we call NDA, which is non-disclosure agreements, which is commonly used to legally bind parties to keep certain information confidential. So NDA. Pronunciation-wise, we have con, first syllable, short O sound, and then fi, which has a short E sound, then another short vowel sound, but it's e, and then shall, again shall, which has a schwa sound. So this is confidential, where then is the stressed syllable. Again, confidential. And lastly, we have sanction. Again, sanction. This is penalty or approval, which is context-based. It is a penalty or coercive measure imposed by a legal or regulatory authority to ensure compliance with laws, rules, or regulation, which is the negative connotation, or official approval or permission for an action, which is the positive connotation. Okay, that's sanction. Pronunciation-wise, we have sunk, which has a short vowel sound and a nasal sound, NG sound, basically. And then TION, shon. So this is sanction. First syllable is the stressed syllable. Again, this is sanction. And those are the words under business and governance. Of course, we do not move on to the last set of words without practicing this set of words. First is jurisdiction. The court has no jurisdiction over crimes committed outside the country. Litigation. The company is involved in ongoing litigation with a formal supplier. Arbitration. They agree to resolve the dispute through arbitration instead of going to court. Confidential. All employee records are strictly confidential and cannot be shared externally. Sanction. The government imposed a sanction or companies violating trade regulations, and that's the last word. We shall immediately move on to the last set of words, which is on policies, permissions, and restrictions. Let's start with non-disclosure. This is an agreement to keep information secret. So it's a legally binding agreement between two or more parties that specifies information they wish to share for a particular purpose but restricts its wider dissemination or use by the receiving party. Okay? All right. That's non-disclosure. Pronunciation wise, I'll start with none, which is short vowel sound. And then wait, yeah, this, which is a short E sound, and then clo, which has a diphthong sound O, and it ends with jor, voiced sound here. So this is non-disclosure. Get non-disclosure. Next is restriction. Restriction. This is a rule or condition that limits something. So it's a limitation that is imposed to control, to limit, or regulate an action. Restrictions are put in place for various reasons, which includes legal compliance, security protocols, internal policies, maybe, and just contractual obligations because they define the boundaries of what is permitted and what is not. Okay? That's restriction. Pronunciation-wise, we start with re, which has a short e vowel sound, and then strict, which also has a short e vowel sound, and then tion, shun. Again, this is restriction. Stress syllable is on the second syllable, strict. This is restriction. Next is authorization. This is an official permission or approval. It's the act of granting permission, granting approval, or the legal right to perform a specific action, to access certain information or areas, or use a particular resource, or use particular resources. It establishes who has the legitimate right to do something, as it involves a formal process of verification and approval. Pronunciation wise, authorization, it starts with O, short O sound, and then which uses a voiceless TH sound and a schwa sound at the end, and then author, ray, ray, which has a diphthong sound, a. And then another diphthong sound for the fourth syllable, zay, authority, zay. A also the diphthong sound. And then tion, shon. So this is authorization. Again, authorization. Fourth term is prohibited. Again, this is prohibited. Now, prohibited, it just basically means not allowed. So, expressly forbidden or not allowed by law, by rule, by policy, or regulation. So it indicates a clear and absolute restriction against a particular action, a particular behavior, or use. So when something is prohibited, there are often legal or disciplinary consequences for engaging in that activity. Organizations and legal bodies use prohibitions to prevent harmful, unethical, or illegal actions. So clear communication of what is prohibited is essential, of course, for ensuring compliance and maintaining orders. So, examples include prohibited items in maybe a workplace, no activities prohibited by law. That's also another example, or just uses of any resources that are not allowed. That's prohibited. Pronunciation wise, prohibited. There's four distinct sounds here. Let's start with pro, which starts with a consonant blend of the consonant sounds of the consonant letters P and R, and then followed by a schwa sound, a weak and stressed vowel sound. Oh, next is heb, which is a short E vowel sound. And then another short E vowel sound alone is the third syllable E. And then ted, which is a short E vowel sound also. So this is prohibited. The second syllable is the stressed syllable here, which is the hib. So this is prohibited. Again, prohibited. All right. Lastly, we have compliance policy. That's the last term for today. Compliance policy. These are rules set to ensure legal and ethical behavior. So it is just a formal document or a set of internal rules, guidelines, and procedures established by an organization to ensure that it operates in accordance with all applicable laws, regulations, ethical standards, and internal policies. A, a compliance policy outlines the organization's commitment to legal and ethical behavior and provides a framework for preventing, for detecting, and just addressing potential violations. So um, it typically covers various aspects such as data protection, uh, anti-corruption, workplace safety, and maybe fair competition. So effective compliance policies are regularly reviewed and updated to reflect changes in laws and regulations and are communicated clearly to, of course, to all employees. Um, they should be given knowledge about any alterations or changes on the compliance policy. So you try to use this when referring to company's internal document, outlining its commitment to compliance, or maybe when discussing the rules and procedures designed to ensure legal and ethical behavior within an organization, or just as simple as when implementing or reviewing a company's compliance framework. You can use this term. Pronunciation wise, we have compliance policy. First word, compliance. Compliance. There's three distinct sounds, I guess, so we've already talked about it, but let's just go over it. First syllable is quomp, which is a schwa sound. Compliance. So ply is the second syllable, which has a diphthong sound, and then it ends with ends, which has a schwa sound in the beginning. So the stressed syllable is on ply. This is compliance. Another word is policy. Again, policy starts with pa, which is a short o sound, then le, which is a schwa sound, and then c, which has a short e vowel sound. The stressed syllable is on the first syllable po. So this is policy. When combined, we get compliance policy. Again, compliance policy. That's how we say it when combined. Okay? So again, this are rules set to ensure legal and ethical behavior. And those are the words for policies, permissions, and restrictions. Let's course, do some practice drills. Okay, let's get started with non-disclosure. The employee signed a non-disclosure agreement before starting the project. Restriction. There is a restriction on sharing client data with third parties. Authorization. You need proper authorization to access these legal documents. Prohibited. Using personal devices in the secure area is strictly prohibited. And lastly, compliance policy. The company updated its compliance policy to meet new international standards. And that brings us to the conclusion of our session on formal legal terminologies. I hope this has provided you with a clearer understanding of these important terms and how they are used in different legal contexts. So we have covered a range of vocabulary related to contracts and agreements, to compliance and ethics, risk and liability, intellectual property, business and governance and policies, permissions, and restrictions. So familiarity with these terms is crucial for effective communications and navigating the legal and regulatory landscape of the world. Yeah, of the world. So remember that the field of law and compliance can be complex, of course, and specific meaning of terms can sometimes depend on the context. Continuous learning and attention to detail are key. Don't hesitate to consult legal professionals or compliance experts when dealing with critical documents or situations. Thank you for your presence here with me, everyone. I highly and greatly appreciate your presence here. Um, though not really an active participation, but hopefully in the following sessions. Now, I hope you feel more confident in understanding and using this vocabulary in your professional life. Just, follow practicing. Just practice these words, these terms, because consistent practice will really show your improvement, will really help you to your great improvement. Okay, consistent practice. And yeah, again, those are the different formal legal terminologies, and this is the end of our session. Have a great night ahead, everyone, and good night. Bye bye.